Hello. Good evening, golf fans. Welcome back to another FanTeam Golf DFS show. I am joined as ever by, fresh off his Eurovision exploits down there, Mr. Mark Ferguson. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay. As you know, Jack and Nick, Eurovision's become a bit of a personal hell for me. I've been to Hell and Back in One Night, which is a lyric from the Austrian effort.
Personal hell for us all, Mark.
Yeah, so I've been subjecting you all to it. And it's still got days of it to go. So yeah, I'm doing okay. I had a good week last week on the golf, so I'm quite happy with that.
Mr. Nick Wigan, how you doing, sir?
I'm very well, Jack. I'm fresh off the golf course this evening. All good. Not a great week for me, but I did manage to bag myself a PGA ticket on the last day. So
Nice.
Silver linings and all that.
Nice. Yeah. So you briefly covered your exploits from last week. I had a good week, as you all know. I put out a very good article, actually. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that one.
Even if you say so yourself, yeah?
16 out of 20 players from my player pool made the cut, which was great on a course that was extremely difficult. Played very, very hard that golf course last week. I actually really enjoyed the event. And I also backed Max Homer and Cameron Young last week at 28-1 and 33-1 consecutively. So, yeah, I was over the moon. I had a good week. Good week on fantasy and betting fronts. So, yeah, it was nice. But did you enjoy the tournament last week, gentlemen?
Wait,
Mark?
you, Nick?
No. I was being too generous then. I was waiting for you.
No, I was going to let you go.
I'm going to put my foot down from now, and I'm going to name one of you just to answer straight.
Drop us right in it. No, I mean, yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good, like you said. I think because it was a bit of a low score, then it was. I think that I prefer the tournaments like that. It feels more like purist golf when you get those lower scores. It's typical kind of performances that we come to expect from some players. Luke List, for example, was having a decent tournament until he absolutely imploded. Thank God he wasn't in my player pool. Won't be in it again this week either. And I'll put that one out there because I'm sure people will accuse me of playing him and whatnot. So yeah, no Luke List this week, and I didn't play him last week, and I am glad. But yeah, I mean, on the whole, anyway, for me, it wasn't a great week. Some surprising miscuts as well, I think, but we move.
Yeah, Jack's 16 out of 20 looks more impressive. When you think about, from a DFS point of view, how few 6-6s there were last week. I think it was it like 3 or 4% or something, which is just crazy in the main event. And, you know, my highest cashing lineup was a 3 out of 6, which just unheard of really much, isn't it? The fact that I had, I think, a first and we had the winner and, you know, 2 T2s, as it were, I think that probably helped. And, you know, just makes you think to yourself, what could have been? But yeah.
No, definitely. I'm similar boat to you, Mark. Although I had 16 out of 20 get through to the cut, my best lineup was a 4, and it was high. It was very high. It was 20th in the big main event, but it was 4 out of 6. But I had Captain Max Homer in it. I had Keegan Bradley in it, and my underdog was Luke List. And it was at one point it was third in that event, and then Luke List decided to do Luke List things on the last day, and I can't remember what he was. I know he was like 2 under going into the last day, and I think he shot like a 6 over par round, something like that, going into the last day. So, yeah, he pulled me back a bit, but that just goes to show if you nail that underdog and captain choice, then if you can get even if you get 4 out of 6, you in a scoring event like last week, you've got a very, very good chance.
And you didn't drop after the cut either, because normally when you've got like a 3 or a 4 or even a 5, sometimes you might be doing well after 2 rounds, but then as soon as you know, rounds 3 and 4 come, the 6s pull away from you. But this low scoring event, it just didn't happen, did it? It was interesting just to have a different style of. I mean, we're going to have a very different tournament this week, aren't we? So.
I prefer the style that we had last week at the Wells Fargo, and I think that golf course deserves a spot on the tour regularly. Maybe it gets a live golf event. You never know. We'll see what happens.
Nice little plug there, Jack.
Well, you never know. You never know. We'll see what happens. Let's take a look at our season team, shall we? Nick, if you can get that up. We didn't have a great week, despite we had 6 last week, didn't we? In the Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
So we didn't have a particularly good week, but we did roll our transfer from memory. I'm just getting the team up on my phone as we speak.
Yeah,
we did roll it.
We've got 2 transfers.
So we've got 2 transfers to use this week, and I think we're going to need them, aren't we? We've only got we've only got 4 at present. Yeah,
we've got 4 playing at present. Some of our bigger hitters like Tony Finau, Roy McIlroy, Webb Simpson, not playing this week. Shane Lowry feels like he's not played forever, but we've obviously got one eye on the PGA as well now. So any move I think we do make, fellas, I think we've got to make moves with that in mind as well. So, 2 transfers we've got. I'm
not going to put it up on the stream here, but obviously you can use the tracker. It's there pinned in the orange bar. But I've done some updates on that this week. So this is to help people out as well. So it's basically at the top of the charts is I'm telling you when that proposed live golf event's going to be. So the first one's going to be the same week of the Canadian Open, which is 5 weeks down the line now. And I've identified a really good wildcard spot if you haven't done it yet, which will be the John Deere Classic. I know we've mentioned that a couple of times around the John Deere or the Barbasol using a wildcard if you haven't. But if you use it on the John Deere week, I think it's a good place to use it because you've got the Irish Open that's getting played that week and the second proposed live golf event is getting played that week as well. So I am dreading to think what that field's going to look like at the John Deere Classic. And then the week after, you have the Scottish Open, which is played the same time as the Barbasol. And there's already a load of commitments to the Scottish Open, Scotty Scheffler's being one of them. Yeah. I've updated this on the tracker. You can see this. If you look on the Barbasol, for instance, all people that are playing the Scottish Open confirmed so far are highlighted in blue. If you look on the John Deere, the people that are playing the Irish Open are highlighted in yellow. I will continue to update it when I get more information on the fields there, but at present, that's how it stands. The tracker is as up to date as it can be. The full list for the PGA Championship is in there at the minute. So, gentlemen, I think we've got some decisions to make by the looks of it then.
We've got 1.6 million spare as well. I think we could, given that how up to date the tracker is, we can actually look a little bit. We can look beyond the PGA, and because we've got a lot of confirmations for things like the Charles Schwab and the Memorial as well. So, there's a couple of golfers that straight away I can see are playing or are confirmed as things stand for the next 4. Xander Schauffele is 1. Willie Zalatoris is confirmed for the next 3.
Yep.
Siwoo Kim also as well is confirmed for the next 4. If we did want to go a little bit cheaper so that we can maybe make a bigger move next week, Patton Kaziri is also confirmed for the next 4, down at 8.6. So depending on what moves we make this week, because we have got the budget there, we could always bring in one of the bigger hitters like a Schauffele, like a Zalatoris, and then maybe bring in a bit of a more budget guy for maybe the likes of McDowell. Maybe move him to a Kaziri for this week. And then we've got 2 guys there that are confirmed for the next 3 or 4 events.
Definitely.
Can we get... Sorry.
Go on, Mark. I
was going to say, could we not get both Xander and Willie Z in?
We potentially could. Yeah. I mean, we've got the money there to do it. I think what we'd probably have to do is move on Tony Finau and probably move on Webb Simpson as well.
I don't think that.
So if we did move on both, let's just see if we have got the funds.
Obviously, we're not making this change.
We have.
Put that out.
Oh,
Yeah,
they have. Look at that.
I do find this one interesting as well. I've seen on the tracker. So Cameron Smith, he's not playing this week, but plays the PGA Championship. Doesn't play the Charles Schwab, but then he plays the Memorial, the Canadian Open, and the US Open. So you get 4 out of 6 weeks there of Cameron Smith. I think he's going to be someone popular as of next week.
And he's been really good form, hasn't he, all year? So we had a question, didn't we, about Willie Z and Xander Schauffele, didn't we?
Yep.
Who you'd rather play for the rest of the season?
It's Zalatoris for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think if you're playing the season long, regardless of price, I think Zalatoris is the more consistent of the two.
Xander's confirmed for 2 more events, though, until the Travellers say.
Yeah. The other thing for me though is the pricing, the fact that you can get Zalatoris for 1.3 less than you can get Schauffele. I think if I was paying that amount, though I don't mind owning Schauffele in our lineup, you're paying 12.8, and I think I'd be more inclined maybe to go up 0.2 to Morikawa or drop down to the likes of Victor Hovland or someone like that when you get in, like more consistent golf from these top players. But yeah, I don't not like owning him. Like, I'm absolutely no issues if we bring him in this week. But for me, it is Zalatoris as well.
Yeah, it's a big, good, nice problem to have, wouldn't it?
Well, we're bang on budget. If we did make those moves, we are bang on budget, and it gives us Scheffler, Zalatoris, and Schauffele, which are 3 of the top players this week. So we've
I like it.
Yeah, I'd quite like it as well.
We could move to Cameron Smith a little bit later if we wanted to.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it still gives us to come in off the bench. It still gives us Rory McIlroy,
Shane Lowry.
Obviously Shane Lowry there coming in off the bench as well, which is a strong starting 6. Gary Woodland there as well, which would be the 7th. Yep. But like you said, it's easy to move to Cameron Smith because we can always then downgrade someone like Schauffele or Scheffler. We can always go to Cameron Smith then at 11.4.
Yeah, that actually, I thought it was going to be a harder decision. That
obviously, if we were to make these moves, who would you captain this week? I think it's obviously going to be between Scheffler, Zalatoris, and Schauffele. I'd probably be tempted to go Zalatoris.
Yeah, I think I would go with Zalatoris. I think Zalatoris is due a win. It's hard not to captain Scheffler, but
very hard.
Yeah, very hard. It's such a stupid thing, isn't it, with DFS? You say it to yourself all the time, don't you, that he can't win again for what would be like the 5th time this year, but of course he can win again. Like, but you get it into your head as a DFS player, so he can't go back-to-back championships. And, like, you get it into your head as a. To be fair, he didn't look good. He didn't look great at the Zurich Classic. I'll say that he wasn't great there with his partner, but that's a totally different event. It's a pairs event. I just worry with this golf course this week because the scores are going to be so low, and we're gonna get someone that misses a cut at like 5 under par this week. Generally, you're going to get that this week. The cut will probably be around 6 under par this week. So I think there's the potential for someone like Scheffler just to take his eye off the ball and just obviously go into next week's PJ. I think Zalatoris is primed for a win. He's due a win. Just don't watch them 4-foot putts that he does.
That sounds like it's decided then.
Yeah, I think we go Willie Z, and I think I think Scheffler is probably going to be one of the most popular captain picks this week. I think with Zalatoris, you've got the ownership there. I mean, it says 9% there, but that'll be based on last week. But I don't think I suspect that there'll be a bit of a spike, but I don't think it'll increase hugely. for this event anyway. So it's a way of getting a little bit different to the rest of the field as well, because I do think a lot of people will probably throw the captaincy on Scheffler this week.
We do have a question there, guys. You see that?
Oh, yeah.
Right, getting up now. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we both clicked at the same time. Do you like Zalatoris over Burns?
I prefer it depends if it's for this week, which might be a bit painful. I prefer Burns. I think overall I've got rid of the tracker now. I think I prefer
Burns.
Zalatoris.
No, I've got him here. Burns does play the next 3 events.
Yeah, okay. I prefer Burns.
It's still Willie Z for me.
I think it's Willie Z just for me as well. But
yeah. I have him like that this week, but yeah, I think Willie Z for me.
Yeah, I think it's Willie Z for me as well. But yeah, I do like. I mean, Burns is the number 1 player within my model this week. But but I just think, again, as a DFS player, it's such a silly narrative to have. But Burns has won recently. I just think Zalatoris is primed for his first PGA Tour win this year.
Jack, you sound like the sort of person who says you can't get another. It can't be heads against flipping a coin. It can't be.
No,
heads
I know. It's a silly narrative, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah, exactly. Even you know the maths on that.
Yeah, I do. Speaking of maths, all the stats that we will be using on tonight's show come from Fantasy National Golf Club. So if you head over there at fantasynational.com/FanTeam, you will get 20% off any of their packages. Again, all the stats that we use on tonight's show, the models that we create and build are all done on this wonderful platform. Just head over at fantasynational.com/FanTeam and get 20% off their packages. It's the best product out there.
That was so smooth, Jack.
Thank you.
The way you went into that.
Might be the best transition we've had.
I know. Oh, without not even anything close, is there? This is why Jack's professional.
Now you've took me out of my stride. Now you've took me out of my stride. Speaking of smooth, Nick, we moved to. I hope you got my text earlier. So I didn't even.
Well, did I? Because I was on the golf course. So did I get the text earlier? Fortunately for you, yeah, I did.
Right. Well, as
to whether I'm actually going to do this or not, after it being stolen from me weeks ago, no, I have done the prep, Jack. So if the floor is mine, I will take the lead.
Yes, Nick, go for it. Give us the AT&T Byron Nelson course preview, please.
So I will try and do this justice, Jack, for you. But yeah, we head over to TPC Craig Ranch this week, which is in McKinney, Dallas, Texas, I believe. It returns for the 2nd year in a row at this course. It was previously at a different course before that, but wasn't a fantastic event. They came to TPC Craig Ranch last year and quite a high scoring event. We're back again for this year. It had been used on a couple of Corn Ferry events as well prior to that. It is a par 72. It's 7,468 yards. We've got 4 par 5s on this course this week. I'll come to some of the scoring holes in a moment, but it's designed by Tom Weisskopf. The greens, Jack, bent grass. I know you love your grass. We've seen bent grass. Did we have a bent grass last week? Wasn't it at the Wells Fargo? I think we had bent grass there as well. I'm almost certain. But yeah, bent grass greens tend to be a little bit slower. The hardest hole is the 16th, which is par 4, 492 yards. It gives up almost 26% bogeys, and actually only 7% birdies on that hole. So That's the most difficult one on the course, shortly followed by the 18th, which is the easiest on the course, which is a par 5, 552 yards. That gives up 53% birdies to the field. When you actually look at the par 5s at this course this week, they are really good scoring par 5s. So I think there is actually only one of the par 5s that is under 40% birdies to the field it surrenders. Most of them are sort of high 40%, early 50%. So there's going to be a massive chunk of the field that are scoring this week on these kind of holes. What it does also have is a couple of quite short par 4s. I think we could probably say, compared to some of the other par 4s on this course, they sort of range from, I think the lowest par 4 on this course is 330, right up to sort of like some of your longer par 4s, you're looking at sort of like 470, 480. So there is quite a bit of a variance there with the par 4s this week. But again, there's a couple of holes like there's two par 4s that are 330 yards, 361 yards. Your biggest hitters on the tour, I mean, you're going to be laying up on those kind of holes. Potentially with the 330, you might have a little bit of carry to the green, but with the 361, you're definitely going to be laying up, and then a short approach shot to the green. But I think that the key isn't necessarily the shorter par 4s. I think the key this week is the longer par 4s, because that is going to bring into play some of the bigger hitters on the tour. Because of the length of some of these holes, I think the length of your approach shot is quite important this week. We always talk about approach. Actually, this week, your second shot, so your approach shot to the green, is likely going to be at least 175 yards plus on quite a few of the holes. So factor that in as well. If you've got access to the stats like we have, you can obviously categorize this kind of thing on Fantasy National. But if not, try and find the data out there for people that are good on their approach, but are also good on their approach over a longer distance, or what it's referred to as proximity to the green. Cut mark, you alluded to it, Jack, should be fairly high. I would say it's going to be around minimum 500. Actually, last year it was 6 under. So I expect much the same this year. There's not much that's changed on this course, so it should be another high-scoring event. Last year's winner, KH Lee, finished on 25 under, so massive scoring. Key stats then, fellas, for me this week, I've got a couple of things in my model. Got the strokes gained on approach, like we do have always. That is actually my most important metric. And then aside from that, I've got a fairly even balance of things like strokes gained on par 5s, par 4 scoring on 450 to 500 yard courses, which does make up a good bulk of this golf course. Driving distance, birdies or better, gained, and also strokes gained off the tee. And I have thrown in as well a little bit of that approach proximity, 175 yards to 200 yards. And that is what my model is based off this week.
We have some similar bits and pieces within our models, Nick. So in mine, I'm looking at off the tee. So what I mean by off the tee, I mean driving distance. So that I've got that in my model. I've got strokes gained on approach. I've got long-term proximity, 200 yards. I've got strokes gained putting on bent grass. Strokes gained total, easy scoring conditions for that. Birdies or better gained, and strokes gained on par 5s. I will also be looking at some comp courses for this place. So I'll look at the results from last year from Craig Ranch here. I'm also looking at TPC Deer Run, TPC Scottsdale, and the Detroit Golf Club within my model this week. Mark, anything different?
No, not particularly. I mean, approach and putting are my two most important stats in my model. I've got everything else covered in various degrees and stuff. So yeah, I've actually simplified my model a little bit this week. So I'm going to be interested to see how that works out.
Indeed. Shall we get on to this week's contest then?
Yeah, why not?
Please. Yes, please.
Let's have a look at the players we've got to work with this week within these builds. So we'll start at the top here. So we've got Scotty Scheffler, the world number 1, Justin Thomas, Dustin Johnson just coming back from his wedding, Jordan Spieth, Hideki Matsuyama, and Sam Burns rounding off that top tier there. Gentlemen, I'll start with you, Mark. Who's your standout player at the top there?
Well, Scotty Scheffler is number 1 in my model, and Sam Burns is number 3. I think Sam Burns is actually going to be more popular than Scotty Scheffler, I think.
Yeah.
Not by much, but I think he will. So, funnily enough, maybe Scotty Scheffler is the pivot play here. I think there's not really much explanation as to why those are ranking so high in the model, particularly. Both having great seasons. They're kind of green across the board everywhere. Yeah. And especially I think though Sam Burns' putting is particularly good, isn't it? So at the moment, so I think he kind of sticks out a little bit.
Yeah, I've got him. Actually, it's not. Yeah, it's not bad. He's 19th within my model over the last 24 rounds. That is so. I'm
looking at 16 for all my model stuff this week. So those are 2 for me. But I think, I don't think that's a real big surprise.
Nick? Yeah, a little bit different for me, actually. So I have got my eye on Sam Burns, but JT ranks 9th in approach and 11th in approach, 175 to 200 yards. He ranks quite highly in my model this week. JT is actually 2nd. 4th in strokes gained off the tee, which I know is an important stat for you as well there, Jack. Just to clarify, I'm looking at the last 24 rounds on these. When you look at his history, Justin Thomas, like in terms of just his historical events, I mean, he rallied to an 8th place finish at the Masters, and I was actually quite surprised when I looked at that early because I felt like actually watching it live, he was nowhere near in contention, but then he just seemed to almost come from nowhere on the last day. So yeah, we had an 8th from him at the Masters. His actual tournament history, like I said, it reads like there's a win imminent. So we've got a 3rd at Valspar, we had a 6th at Genesis, 8th at Phoenix. I think the last time he actually missed the cut was like last year's PGA, I think. Yeah,
he hasn't missed the cut all season this year.
Yeah, so. It's literally from last year's PGA. So he's, you're getting really consistent golf out of him. He consistently gains a lot of strokes on his approach. He gains a lot of strokes tee to green. One thing I will say is he's putting on bent grass is actually his worst surface statistically, but he's not gaining or losing a massive amount of strokes with his putter. Some weeks he's consistent with it, gains strokes. Some weeks he just loses strokes with it. It's just a bit of a balancing act, it seems. But when I looked at his strokes gained tee to green, which obviously takes into account everything off the tee right up to his approach to the green, it's fantastic reading. I think Justin Thomas the win feels imminent. I thought we might have got it at Augusta. But yeah, Justin Thomas is a big play for me this week.
Interesting. Sam Burns is my favourite player this week. Number 1 in the field over the last 24 rounds in strokes gained on par 5s. He's number 2 with birdies or better gained, and he's 4th in strokes gained total. I just love everything about Sam Burns. The Valspar was similar scoring, a little bit lower than what I think we're going to get here, but I like everything about Sam Burns. He's the number 1 player in my model. DJ is actually surprisingly ranking quite high for me.
It was for me as well.
I don't know if I can trust that coming back off. I mean, he missed the cut at the Heritage. He's coming back off of his wedding, like I say. He hasn't played since the Heritage. He did have the 12th at the Masters, and you got the 9th at the Players' Championship there. I just haven't seen enough from him, and he's driving at the minute, which arguably is the fundamental part of his game. Really, is letting him down. There was times at the Masters that he just put the driver back in the bag because he didn't trust himself with it. So I gonna swerve what the stats are telling me, I think, with Dustin Johnson this week and just avoid.
It should be the lowest owned, shouldn't it? I mean, if you want to have a game theory play and you think you can just, turn it on. My worry about a lot of these players at the top here, though, is that they're all going to be in contention for the PGA. And are they going to really give it all for 4 rounds? That's my worry as well. That's my worry about spending up. If I was multi-entering, I would definitely have lineups that just excludes them all, fades them all.
Agreed. Let's move down page 1. So we've got Xander Schauffele, Willie Zalatoris, Joaquin Niemann, Tommy Fleetwood, Adam Scott, Taylor Gooch, Jonathan Vegas, Jason Day, Jason Kokrak, Aaron Wise, and rounding this page off is Mark Leishman. Mark, who's your favourite pick of the bunch there?
Well, it's a surprise, actually. It's Taylor Gooch is the one who's ranking best in my model here. No, he's 5th. But, I mean, Fleetwood's putting stats for me sort of stuck out as we were just talking and stuff. One of those two. Really. Yeah, Gooch's and Fleetwood's actually my model. Their putting stats are pretty good. The pair of them. That's probably why they're so high up. So yeah, and we do think there is a possibility. I mean, we talked about this earlier in the day, Jack, and I think you said this could be just become a putting contest.
Yeah, it will. I put that within my article. This will. Yeah. It's a good job John Rahm's not in this field this week because he would hate this. It is going to be a putting contest at the end of the day. Whoever does the best with the flat stick will probably win this tournament at the end of the week. So, interestingly, you've brought up Taylor Gooch there, Mark, because he's ranking very highly within my model. He's actually 8th within my model. Strokes gained approach over the last 24 rounds. He's 3rd in this field. Par 5 scoring. Strokes gained on par 5, 17th within this field. Birdies better, he's 10th within this field. I like him this week, and I like what I saw at the Masters. I'm going to have a healthy dose of him this week, Taylor Gooch. Nick, anyone standing out for you on this section here?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping it doesn't become a putting contest because Willie Zalatoris is one of my favourite players this week. He's green in every category except for his putting. His putting is actually horrible to watch, in all honesty. He looks not like a confident man approaching every single putt. Like you said, Jack, everything within 4 feet is normally a very high percentage conversion on the PGA Tour. What you call a gimme, I suppose. But he approaches 4 feet putts like I approach 4 feet putts. Absolutely no confidence that it's going to end up in the hole. And that is Willie Zalatoris with the flat stick. But with that said, he's such a strong player in every other facet of his game. He's long enough off the tee that he should eat this course up. Par 4s on that 450 to 500 yard distance that I'm focusing on, where I think some of the scoring can be edged, shall we say. Ranked 7th in the field there. He's had 3 top 10s this year in 6 events, no missed cuts. Like I said, I just hope it doesn't become a putting contest because I think that will scupper any chance he has of winning. But yeah, I like Willie Z. Actually, one of my favourite players this week as well is Johnny Vegas. Yep. Really long off the tee. He's ranked 1st in strokes gained approach. You talk about consistent cut makers. He is a consistent cut maker. His best golf has actually come very recently. His last 3 events, he's had a top 5, a top 15, and a top 20 finish. So yeah, Johnny Vegas very much in my thoughts this week as well, especially for that length off the tee. He's one of the biggest hitters out there.
Yeah, proved a lot of his critics wrong last week. Come back, didn't he, from some arm surgery just after the Texas Open. So I think a lot of people were put off by that surgery, and then he went and finished 15th at the Wells Fargo in very, very difficult conditions. So, I mean, I'm not using this as a comp course, but the Corrales is a very, very long golf course, and he come 4th there. So, yeah, I like Jonathan Vegas. He's high up in my model this week, Nick. Just someone else, a couple of other players down there that I like. Jason Kokrak and Aaron Wise also popping within my model. I suspect they're probably popping in yours as well.
Yeah, Kokrak is.
Yep. Let's move to page 2 then and see what we get here. So we start from the top. We've got Hawin, Power, Si Woo, Kim, Alex Norrin, Cameron Champ, Maverick McNeely and Matt Kuchar rounding off that top part there. Nick, who's your favourite play out of that top part?
It's Maverick McNeely for me in the top half. Again, another consistent cut maker, 7 out of 8 cuts this year. He puts well on bent grass. He's ranked 11th in strokes gained on par 5s. His best finish was a 7th at the Genesis. And then other than that, we've had quite, I say consistent performances from him, but they're sort of like middling consistency. It's like 7th at the Genesis, and then I think we've had a sort of like a couple around the 20 to 30 mark in the finishes for him. But yeah, I mean, he's got decent enough length again off the tee where he should score well this week. This course should suit. He's 16th in the field in total strokes gained as well. So yeah, Maverick McNeely is definitely someone I like this week at the top half. I think I'm mentioning this week about consistently players making the cut, and we mentioned it last week. And we saw last week how little people had 6 out of 6 through the cut. That is something I'm just going to put a little bit of focus in this week, just to try and target some of those consistent cut makers, and Maverick McNeely's definitely one of them.
Definitely, he's very high up in my model as well. Mark, anyone?
Yeah, Adam Hadwin's second in my model. He's going to be popular. I've bet him as well as soon as I saw the prices because I thought he might come in. He's the main reason being his approach play, I think, is why he's doing so well in my model. But he's green for the 16 rounds. He's green across everything, and I see somebody was Noren in that section as well. Somebody's asking about some Noren love. Yeah, I've got him. He's fourth in my model. So there you go, Victor. There's some Noren love. I've done that. Yeah.
Alex Noren. So yeah,
he's fourth. So Hadwin we knew he had this amazing run, didn't he? Hadwin, where he was 4th, 7th, and 9th, and then 26th. Then he missed a cut, and that was his last out of the Zurich and stuff. So that's a small concern. But yeah, if I'm going to use my model, he's number 2 in it.
Interesting. Neither of them two are popping in mind, probably because I've set it to bent grass. I'm sure if I change that back to just all grass types, it would have both them players pop in anyway. Seamus Power is 20th within my model this week. Missed the cut last week, which was painful. I've got him in the season team. Not ideal, but he was kind of sort of rounding out into form, wasn't he, until last week? And I don't know, just missed the cut there. He ranks 6th in my model in strokes gained putting over the last 24 rounds on bent grass. So I do like him this week, and he's second in strokes gained total over the last 24 rounds within this field as well. So he's someone I like up there as well this week. Let's move down the page a bit. I've heard Cameron Champion talked up a bit. People comparing this to the 3M Open. I don't know if I'm going to get there with Champ this week, but we'll see. Lanto, Griffin, Straka. I've missed a cut. Burned me in a team last week. Straka, Davis Riley, Mito Pereira, Kevin Kisner, Seabez, KH Lee, the reigning champion here, Bubba Watson, Sergio Munoz, and Killer Keith Mitchell, who certainly lived up to his nickname last week, didn't he, with the missed cut? Mark, who's your favourite go-to within that range?
I haven't really. This is actually a bit of a dead range for me. Munoz is the highest ranked, I think, for me in this part of the range at 19th and stuff. So he'll be on sort of the fringe of my player pool. So yeah, not much interest around this range.
Nick,
very interesting, Mark. Very interesting. Mito Pereira is actually ranked 1st in my model. He's 1st on strokes gained off the tee. Again, I have filtered this to bent grass. I think is important just to mention because you just mentioned it then as well, Jack. He's 10th in approach, 6th in birdies or better. His greens in regulation percentage is very high, 73%, which is obviously your greens in regulation tends to be a good sort of, I mean, it's an accuracy stat at the end of the day. It's a good stat for your sort of your approach playing on your par fours and your par fives. But yeah, I mean, he's striking the ball really well, Mito Pereira. His good drives gained is very impressive over the season. He's not one of the longest hitters in this field. He's probably somewhere around middle of the pack's probably not fair to him. He's probably sort of like lower end of the top half, if you will, like sort of around the 30s to 40s if you were to rank them, but still long enough that, again, the course should settle quite nicely for him. Some impressive finishes this year as well we've had from Mito Pereira. He's 15th at the Genesis, 13th at Valero, which is obviously another Texas course. So, yeah, Mito Pereira this week, I can't ignore that. I'm ranked first in my model, and he's ticking all the boxes for me. So, yeah.
Not worried about that injury that forced him out of the Zurich.
I mean, I'll probably cap exposure because of that, but yeah, I mean, I'm not going to not play him. I'll just keep an eye on the withdrawals at the end of the day. I don't know the severity of that injury. I probably need to read into that a little bit further, but if he feels he's good to go, then I'm definitely going to have exposure there.
Fair enough. I am going back to... Sorry, Mark, was you going to say some more?
I was just going to say, I know the reason that I haven't Mito isn't so high in my models because I'm not using grass-specific putting stats, because actually his general putting has been awful for the last 16 rounds. So that's kind of why. Otherwise, he would rank very highly for me as well. So, and it might be something I need to consider bumping him up a bit.
Yeah, and that's the great thing with this show. We are all using completely different models, as we said. So it's that's the fun part of it. We've all built differently, and
as a famous Life of Brian sketch once said, "We are all individuals. We are all different."
Indeed. I am going back to the well with Killer Keith, and he killed me last week, most definitely. But the form before that was great. He got that 9th at the Honda Classic there, which is a hard golf course. He came 13th for the Players. He was 10th at the Phoenix Open and 12th at Pebble Beach there. He is ranking number 9 in my model this week, and he's joint first with Sam Burns in strokes gained on par fives. He's third in the field over the last 24 rounds with birdies or better. The only thing that's letting him down is the approach. He's actually 100th over the last 24 rounds. So that's certainly something he's going to have to improve this week. But because of the miscut last week, I think people are going to feel annoyed, not go back there. Understandable. I'm going back to it, and I'm gonna try it again, and hopefully he doesn't go. Hopefully he doesn't go Killer Keith again. But we will see. We will see. I'm going back there. Let's head on to page 3.
Sorry, Jack. I just want to quickly say about your Keith love. I think he's going to be low owned. I think he'll probably be like one of the lowest owned he's going to be all year. So good time to play. Because he's been a bit of a darling, hasn't he, of the DFS
it's the perfect
world.
Yeah. It's the perfect time to play someone like that when they've been a darling and then they go and miss a cut. It's the perfect time to play them the week after. Let's move on to page 3. We got Ryan Palmer, Kurt Kitayama, Luke List, show favourite there. We're going to have him on one day. Ian Poulter, Tom Hoagie, CD Pan, Matthew Neesmith, and JJ Spawn. Nick, from the top there, who's standing out for you on this page? Are we going back to the well with Luke List?
Oh my God, no, we are not. Nothing really leaps off the page for me, but Kurt Kitayama is quite consistent across the board in all my key metrics this week. A little bit of recency bias. He has been particularly good in his last 2 events as well. He was 2nd at the Mexico Open, 15th at Wells Fargo.
That's a comp course. That's a comp course as well for this week, the Mexico Open.
Yeah, so he's massively gaining strokes, tee to green and in his approach. So I can't ignore Kurt Kitayama this week. CT Pan's another one for me at the top of this list. He had another good performance at the Wells Fargo. He's finished 15th there. He's a good approach player, CT Pan. He's not particularly long off the tee. but he's very consistent in like his fairways gained. So you do get accuracy from him, very consistent cut maker. So Kitayama and CT Pan are probably my favourites off this whole page. As a matter of fact, there's not a great deal at the bottom of this page that I like, but I do like these two at the top.
Mark?
That's so funny because there's quite a lot I like here. So, so I'm the opposite to you from the last page, Nick. CT Pan the same as you. Naismith actually is the highest rank for me in this area. The only part that's really letting down is his putting is kind of neutral, for want of a better phrase, in my model. Everything else he's greening. So yeah, I do like those two, and I think this is I'm going to have a lot of underdogs here, I think, from this area.
Well, guess where I'm going back to? Mr. Luke List. He actually, again, whatever I do with my models each week, Luke List pops in it for some reason. He's 18th with my model this week, so he's not popping as big as he was last week, but there's not really, outside of the putting, it's all green. And that's what we want, right? He's... I can't talk marketers. He's 14th in strokes gained on approach over the last 24 rounds. Driving distance, he's 13th within this field. Strokes gained on par 5, he's 15th. I mean, it's not like standing out numbers, but it's all green, and that's what we want to see. It's just the putting. If you can get it together with the flat stick, and there's no reason why he can't there. These greens are not particularly hard this week. They're big greens as well. There's no reason why he couldn't get hot with the putter. And we've seen it before with golfers getting hot with the putter. Matsuyama's a prime example. Quite similar in certain aspects to Luke List with the putter. He struggles most of the time with it, but then he just gets hot every now and then, and that's when you want to be on them. And I like what I saw from Luke List last week. He just had that blow-up round in the last round, unfortunately. He was in contention at one point. He was 5 under par at one point last week. So, yeah, I'm going back there again. He's popping within the model, and I will go back and probably cry at the end of the week.
It's a good underdog pick, isn't he? I think it's a good underdog play because
he's third in my model, and I'm like you, Jack. Every week, no matter what I put into this model, Luke List appears on it. I cannot.
You've just got him starred, though. We all know that.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's he is one of the favourites on there. I mean, one of the key stats that I tend to omit most weeks is putting, and we don't really talk a massive amount about short game, more approach. And those are the two parts of his game where he's not particularly good. He loses a lot of strokes in his short game around the greens. He loses in putting, but I think because those are two omitted stats, he just keeps popping up week after week. So I think I'm just going to have to throw in some short game next week. Get rid of Luke List.
Guess where he is in my model? I don't think you're ever going to guess this.
That 117th.
Almost 130th.
Oh, I'll take that.
It's because his putting is so bad and his approach play is negative. But his off the tee is pretty brilliant. So yeah, that's I was trying to find him and I couldn't find. I didn't think I'd have to scroll so far down. So there you go.
Let's finish off this page and then we can head over to the other pages, see if there's anyone else we like, and then we can build some teams. So we've got Mackenzie Hughes, Dylan Fratelli, Aaron Rye, Mr. Iron Head Covers himself, Sean Norris, Charles Hale III, Matthew Wolf, who, well, he played club down golf last week, and he showed some form, and yeah, an interesting one. But he's very, very volatile player for DFS, Matthew Wolf. Brandon Todd, Patton Kaziri, and Matthias Schwab. Mark, anyone down here you like standing out for you?
Brendan Todd's 17th in my model, so I think it's pretty good value. I think it's largely due to his putting overall. But yeah, other than that, no, not particularly. I'm not sure you necessarily need to go this far down.
Well, I have him one, but I do like Patton Kaziri. He's popping with him in my model as well, Patton Kaziri. Made a lot of cuts, which is...
Yeah.
I think if me and you spoke to each other last year, Mark, with Golf DFS, Patton Kaziri is not a name that we remember for making consistent cuts.
Also, as I pointed out today to you, I was surprised that you were so high on him.
Yeah, well, he's there. It's just the one miscut there at the Valero Texas Open. So maybe there's the Texas narrative. Maybe you don't like playing in Texas. Maybe I should avoid him this week.
He was third. He was third here last year, wasn't he, on this course? So,
yeah,
you know.
he loves this golf course as well. So,
Mm.
Nick, anyone in particular? You going back to Mr. Iron head cover, 2 glove rye?
No, there's not really anyone at the bottom of this page. You mentioned Matthew Wolff. He does have that ceiling ability, but like you said, very volatile. He's missed quite a few cuts this season as well. No, I don't really have much interest in anyone on this page. I think I've actually probably got a little bit more interest in some of the guys that are on page 4 or even beyond that. I think I'd rather pay down a little bit more to be able to upgrade if I was going this low, that is.
Let's head over to page 4 then and just, Nick, give me the guys that you like and tell us why.
Yeah, Carlos Ortiz was one of mine on page 4. Again, I think the course sets up quite nice for him because he does have a lot of distance off the tee. He's ranked second in approach play as well, so his putting is very volatile, but you're going to get that at the sort of this end of the field. Carlos Ortiz was there, like I said. Even going down to, and I don't even know if he's on this page, he might actually be on the next page, but going down to sort of like Ches Reeve, he ranks 19th in my model, he's 4th on approach. He's par 4 scoring on 450 to 500 yards, he's 2nd in the field. So I think the point I was making is more that there is some, I think, value plays that you could find down this end of the board this week if you wanted to go really cheap on your underdog. Pat Perez is down there at 13.4.
He's popping in my model, actually, Pat Perez.
Yeah, Pat Perez. Joseph Bramlett is another one massive off the tee. He is he's 11th in my model, Joseph Bramlett, and I think a big part of that is his driving distance, but he scores, he's gained strokes on par 5s as well. So, you know, I think if you want to get a little bit cheap on your underdog, there's definitely some value to target down here, and it's going to allow you to put a lot of these big players in that we've mentioned as well at the top end.
Mark, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
I think they're page 5 actually. Swafford and Stenson are both top 20 in my model. So I think I'm not sure if I'm going to use them. As I said, I'm not sure you have to go down that far. But you know, if we're doing a real and the only reason you have to go down that far is if you're going to play a lot of players who are right at the top of the board. And as we've said already, we do have our doubts about their motivation necessarily to finish. So I do like them, but I'm not sure I'm going to use them. But I know you like somebody down here, Jack.
Yeah, well, I only like it if you take off bent grass putting from my model. Hank the Tank ranks 4th within my model this week. Not too sure why, but again, Mark, if we spoke to each other last year with Hank Lebioda, another player that we don't expect to make back-to-back cuts, and he has done over the last 2 events. He had that 29th at Mexico, which is impressive, and it's good to see coming here because, as I've already mentioned, you could use the Mexico Open golf course as a comp course for this. It's long, wide open fairways, not really a lot of trouble about anywhere. If I have to get cheap, I'm certainly going to be going back to Mr. Hank the Tank. Boys, should we get into a build?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So how do you want to start this? Do you want to do a stars and scrub lineup?
Yeah, let's start with the start because I think we're going to like the balance more, aren't we? Because we always do.
We normally do, don't we? Should we Should we just stick the world number 1 in?
Let's make it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do it.
Let's stick the world number 1 in, and then if it wants to work, there we go. Nick, where do you want to
go? I like Vegas at 17.
Okay. So what's that leaving us there already? That will leave us 61 million in the bank. So I think we need to get
over
onto
15.
page 2 really now, don't we?
Yeah. I definitely like Hadwin on here, so I think he's on top of page 2.
Yeah, that's
or is
fine.
he too expensive? No.
Let's try it. We'll see what happens. We'll try it. So
Okay.
we get Hadwin in at 16. We got 45 million left. 15 million per player, really. I like Killer Keith.
Throw him in.
No?
Yeah. And Mito was popular, wasn't he? Can you get him as well?
He was. What page? He's on page 3.
He's there, just above him. 15.2.
Oh yeah, sorry, 15.2. So now we're going to have to go to page 3.
Which, to be fair, we've got a choice of Kittyama, Luke List, CT Pans there.
Yeah, we've got 14.8 million, so we can have anyone from the top.
You mean you, Nick, both had CT Pan pretty high on the model. I don't know about you, Jack, but we're in pretty high.
Yeah, I don't mind that. So we shot CT Pan. So we've got Scheffler, Vegas, Hadwin, Mitchell, Pereira, and CT Pan. That's our stars and scrub. I take it we would captain Scheffler within that lineup.
Yeah, doesn't seem very scrubsy, does it? When we've all mentioned players further down.
That feels quite balanced to me, actually. I think we could get a lot cheaper and get a lot more. I think we could get 2 of the top. I think
let's take out CT Pan, and let's go to. Should we put Hank the Tank in?
Yeah, sure.
Why not?
We've all got players around that range we like, haven't we? So it doesn't really matter because they're all the same price roughly.
Yeah, it's page 5, isn't it?
That's given us 1.4.
So we do that. That gives 1.4. Maybe we remove off of Hadwin.
What's he? 16. So it gives us 17.4.
It would allow us to go back on page 1.
Yeah.
So let's do that. Let's take out Hadwin. And
then we've got 3 on page 1, haven't we, then?
We've got Adam Scott, Gooch. We all like Gooch. Jason Day, Kokrak, Wires. Gooch?
It's Gooch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 on page 1 is pretty handy, isn't it?
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, I like that one.
Who would you captain? It's got to be Scheffler, right?
Yeah, has to be.
Yeah.
Let's build a more balanced lineup. Should we start on page 2 and then come back to page 1, maybe?
Yeah, can do. Maverick McNeely, maybe at 15.6.
Yeah, we all like Maverick McNeely, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to get your Hadwin in this one, Mark?
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all.
Yeah. What we got at the moment? Have we got to go below McNeely at all at the moment, or
we've got 68.4 million left.
So we've got like
how about Seamus Power?
I don't think we even need to be on this page if we don't want to be. Do we?
Okay. Do you want to try on page 1, see what we got, and then come back? Should we? We like Kokrak. We did. Yeah, we get Zalatoris in this one. We like Kokrak as well, didn't we?
Yeah, Kokrak. I think he's 9th in my model. I think.
So that would, if we went there, that would leave us with 33.4 million.
So back to 15.7 sort of thing.
Yeah, which is fine.
I know I might be the only one who likes Norin now, aren't I? I think so.
I don't hate Norin. He's making cuts, isn't he? Yeah. I don't hate Norin at all. We could go Norin.
Actually, his form is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, let's go Norin. I think you put Siwoo in this lineup. Again, making cuts, isn't he? Constantly making cuts.
9th in my model. I didn't mention that. 9th in my model as well.
So we'll stick Siwoo and Norin in, and that leaves us. McNeely is our underdog in that lineup. I really like that lineup. We've got 2.2 million left.
We could go up to Sam Burns from Kokrak, can we? Can we reach Sam Burns, Kokrak?
Let's try it. I don't know if we can have enough, are we, Nick? No.
Okay.
No, I did. Yeah, I was looking at that, but yeah, not quite enough for it. Unless the only other thing we could do, I think we can get there, but it would mean probably sacrificing Siwoo. But if we did, it gives us CT Pan as the underdog.
I did like it with Siwoo as the underdog, though.
I kind of liked it how we had it, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. Leave it as he was.
It's not a bad thing leaving money on the table, is it?
No, particularly it's not like you have to spend it. For me, personally, if I take this lineup, I'm upgrading Willie Z to Sam Burns for me.
Yeah, I would put both lineups in. So I'd put this lineup in captain Zalatoris, and then I would take Zalatoris out and put Sam Burns in that place and captain Sam Burns. I like 100%. It. One more? Should we go for one more build?
Yeah.
Let's go for a. Should we go for like a lower ownership one? So DJ.
Yeah.
I mean, he's popping in the model, right? I don't really want to go there, but he's popping within the model.
Yeah. Try to look at who else is really low owned. Who shouldn't be.
I think Straka might go low owned because of what happened last week, and before that, he was on a bit of a tear up.
Yep.
Missed the cut last week. 3rd at the RBC Heritage, 30th at the Masters, 9th for the Players.
He's got good putting stats as well.
Should we put him in?
Yep, let's do it.
I'd say this can be like a lower owned build, isn't it? So,
Kaziri maybe.
Yeah. Let's go down to Kaziri.
That's going to give us quite a bit of budget. That.
Yeah. See what that gives us. That gives us 49.8 million. I was just thinking, how about Cameron Champ? One at the 3M Open. How did he do it in Mexico?
He was sick.
Yeah. This is the type of golf course that would set up for him, and I think he'd go lower owned. Very volatile player. We know.
Yeah, I think he will be lower owned. Yes.
Let's get Cameron Champ in, and then
maybe because of
34. Yeah, but he's done it at Mexico, which I like to see coming in.
Also, 30... he said it so far and stuff off the tee.
Yeah.
So
34.2 million that leaves us left.
17.1 then.
Should we head back over to page 1? See.
Yeah, I was just before we go back to page 1. I don't know how you feel on this one. We've not really mentioned his name, and he's not quite as long as he once was off the tee, but Bubba Watson stands out in quite a few categories this week. He's actually ranked 1st off the tee with Mito Pereira. He is 3rd on strokes gained par 5s.
Let's get Bubba in.
He's super low owned.
Yeah, and he is still long enough. I mean, he's still one of the big hitters, but he's not quite as long as he once was. But again, course suitability.
Oh wow, that gets us up to Xander Schauffele. So I think we chuck Xander in.
I think we've got to throw him in, haven't we? Yeah.
Yeah, I know we've built it around being lower owned players, but you can only go so far. No, you can only go so far with that, and maybe Neiman would go lower owned in this range, so maybe you could use him, but. I think we chuck in Xander in that lineup. I really like that lineup. I think that's my favourite lineup of the night. That is one of them lineups that could take the whole thing down, or it could finish dead last. Most definitely.
That's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just entered all those lineups, and I've done the little swap and changes, like we said as well, like the Willie Z to Sam Burns. Swap the captaincies round in that last lineup. So I did a DJ captain and a Xander captain. And amidst all that, I gained my Hall of Fame badge on their FanTeam for contest entered. So there we go.
We've witnessed it live.
Live on air. There you go. Hall of Fame unlocked.
Well done, Nick. Very proud of you.
Thank you very much.
As ever, the stats that we used on tonight's show are over at Fantasy National. You can head over there at fantasynational.com/FanTeam, get 20% off any of their packages. We did have a bit of a discussion earlier. We are on YouTube. Just search FanTeam Official. We are over there. That's the only way you can leave comments on the video. If you're leaving them on Twitter, we won't see them. It's just Periscope rules and something like that. I'm not tech minded, so basically we can't get them through. So if you want to send comments into the show, just watch it on YouTube and give us a like and a thumbs up. That goes a long way for us. Mark, any final thoughts from you, sir?
No, keep an eye out for all the Eurovision content coming out.
I had to get it
and with that, Nick, can you sign us out, please?
Yes. Drivers for door. I'm putting it. That was wrong.
Oh,
that was wrong, fellas.
It was going so well.
Yeah. Drivers for sure. Putting for door. There we go.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers.